All right, we good? Oh, there we are. Perfect. Welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. This is the first night back at our observatory in Jenny Jump State Park in Hope, New Jersey. So, welcome all to everyone who has come here. Welcome to everyone who is online because that is right. We do live stream these to both YouTube and Twitch. So, uh, do hit those like, follow, subscribe, whichever are the free actions. We always encourage the free actions because that little bit of support, surprisingly, goes a very long way. Uh, if you want, we are a nonprofit. We're not going to ever turn down any of the monetary like, follow, subscribe options either. But never feel obligated to do that. We do love offering these free public programs. Just to give people coming in a little bit of extra time, you can check us out on our website, uacnj.org. It's where you're going to find a list of all our upcoming talks, as well as lists of our member clubs and our telescopes that we have on site and all that fun stuff. You can also check us out on our social media pages, our Facebook, Instagram. We have a Discord server for those of you who are into that, where you can, all great places to ask questions, share your astrophotos, as well as just talk with other people who love astronomy, space, and science. Like I said, we do live stream these to Twitch and YouTube, so you can also check us out there. And if on our list of upcoming talks, you see, man, I missed the one that I really wanted to see, never fear. You can actually go onto our YouTube. We do keep all our past talks saved there. So don't fear, you can still see those, even if you have physically missed them in person. With that, for people who are here, we have this presentation, and normally it's followed by stargazing. However, we're not going to see stars. Unfortunately, the weather has not smiled on us on this weekend of NEAF, which is the Northeast Astronomy Forum. So, presentation tonight. First, safety briefing. I nearly forgot it. I'm out of practice since this is the first talk of the season. Go figure. So, safety briefing. When we go to leave here, we are using our headlights. We prefer not to get run over. I'm sure everyone else also feels the same way, that we should avoid getting run over. It's just way too much hassle and paperwork. If you need to use the bathroom, that would be the porta potty you passed outside. It is illuminated by a red light, so it will make it easy to find. When we're walking around, if you're walking around, keep the flashlights and other lights pointed down, because we don't need to accidentally blind people, because it's really annoying when you get those super bright LEDs in your eyes. So we're not going to do that to people. You came through, since we're indoors because the weather was bad enough. You came through our little museum and gift shop area, and all the proceeds do help keep us going, offering these free public programs. So we do thank you for that. But anyway, you're not here to listen to me rattle on. Tonight's talk is... That's just the welcome slide. What's up in the April sky?
What's up in the April sky?
Where we would normally put our talk. Normally this talk would be given by Lonnie Bunis. Unfortunately, he had family matters to attend to. We do wish him well with those. But luckily, he has assigned our very own Paul Fischer to help fill in for him. With that, Paul Fischer has a Bachelor in Engineering and Chemical Engineering from Stevens Institute of Technology and has worked in the environmental and chemical industries. Though always interested in celestial objects, Paul's official start in amateur astronomy was one night a few years ago, lying in awkward positions in the freezing cold trying to find things through his binoculars, where he caught a brief clear glimpse of the Galilean moons of Jupiter, probably immediately lost them and like, no, where'd I find those? And from then on, he was hooked. He's now an active member of Northwest Jersey Amateur Astronomers and volunteers here at United Astronomy Club of New Jersey as our vice president. Yay, I got the office correct. Uh, yeah, those change yearly, so sometimes I'm wrong. Uh, and still, he manages to frequently find himself freezing outside at night watching the stars. And with that, you get to hear Paul rattle on instead of my very exhausted brain.
Thank you, Kim. Yes, I would make a few because when those numbers start really getting up there, it's best not to be specific anymore on the number of years one has been around. What's up in the April sky? As Kim mentioned, Lonnie normally does this. Lonnie does this, as you imagine, every month by the title. Lonnie's just not able to join us tonight, but he assured us that he should be back in May. So thank you, Lonnie, for doing this every month, and thank you, for continuing to do that and actually provide most of the information in this presentation. All right, so just to be specific, for everything wholesome, right, and good with this presentation, assign that to Lonnie. And for everything incorrect and bad, so bad, please blame me. Send your hate emails towards me. Okay, so here's Lonnie likes to introduce a lot of the information that's out there on the web or at various parts of the internet, and here's one of them: astronomical events in April 2025 from starwalk.space. And we have the occultation of the Pleiades, Moon and Uranus, full moon occultation of Spica, of Venus, Saturn, Mercury, and Neptune alignment, Mercury at its greatest elongation. The dates are right above these. The April Lyrids meteor shower, and Venus at its greatest brilliancy. So all sorts of interesting things happening in April. This is also how Lonnie organizes his, he'll give this introductory slide showing all the information, and then we'll go over each, in a little bit more detail during this presentation. So the first thing is we'll talk about the moon phases. I actually updated this slide for Lonnie. He was showing the end of March. Of course, the end of March looks a little bit different than today. The moon changes so quickly. It was a waxing crescent instead of what it currently is, the first quarter. Okay. What's the opposite? What's the counter word to waxing? Waning. Thank you very much. Our live audience is on the ball today. Excellent. All right, so let's talk a little bit about why is this half moon here, right? Here's a half moon. That's today right there. Here's a half moon. Why is that called the first quarter moon? All right, you have to remember that anything that is a cycle, you have to go all the way through the cycle in order for it to be considered done. Okay, so here we're starting at the new moon at the end of March. We go through 1, 2, 3, all the way back to the new moon. So that's 4 things. So a whole thing divided by 4 is a quarter. And so that's why 1, 2, 3, 4 is the full cycle. So it's not the size of the moon. It's not half of the face of the moon. It's a quarter of the cycle. That's why it's a quarter moon. and this would be 3/4 or the last quarter of the moon. That makes sense? All right. I can. Questions, if you could, though, please, as a matter of order. Not that there's much confusion here today, but just at the end of the show, there'll be plenty of time. Please do ask questions at the end of the show. The full moon and the native full moon names. So this is called the April 13th will be the full moon. Let's see if it corresponds. Yep, 13th on the chart there and 13th here. And the micro pink moon is the name of this month's full moon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I saw, did I see it? I didn't see it, so we'll go, I'll have to say it in words because I don't see a slide for it. So the, no, it's specific. I think I did, I saw it. Ah, here it is. Okay, let's go back to here. The information's right here. The moon's actually a little further away from us than normal. So it is 4% smaller and 8.3% dimmer. Okay, so things naturally get dimmer the further they are away from us, and they get smaller too. So that is, it's a smaller moon than normal. I haven't either. That's a new terminology on me too. I don't know whether it's official or not, but some people are calling it the micro pink moon. 'Cause right. And here's some super moons down here. So I guess that is the other side of the cycle. The moon will reach its full phase on the 13th. It will be located in Virgo. That is, of course, a constellation near the brightest star of the constellation, Spica. The moon is called the Pascal full moon, as it determines the date of Eastern for Western Roman Catholic and Protestant Christian churches. Another common name for it is the pink moon, though the moon doesn't actually change its color as a parenthetic thought there. The name was given to the April full moon by Native Americans to represent the early blooming wild growth, ground growth of the phlox, which typically blossoms this month. Here is a reference if you want to see a bunch of other alternate names for this month's full moon. Events. Let's talk about the planets. Mercury becomes visible before sunrise on the 21st. That is its farthest elongation of the year. If you think about it, what is an elongation? It means it's the furthest distance from the sun that we can observe here from the Earth. And that's an angular distance. That doesn't mean that it's much further away than it normally is in its orbit from the sun. It just means that if we were to look at it, it's further to the left or further to the right of the sun. Elongation happens in either of those directions, further to the east or further to the west of the sun, the furthest it will be. Mercury is very close to the sun, and you have to use caution, especially when viewing Mercury. Venus is easier, Mercury is hard, and the reason is you do not want to take any lens of any sort to Mercury while the sun is still up, because if you were to look at the sun even briefly by mistake with the some sort of optical instrument, you could damage your eyes quite significantly. So don't do that. So Mercury requires extra caution. Make sure the sun is gone. It's better not to see Mercury than not to see anything else ever again. Visibility of planets in April, you'll see here Saturn, Neptune, Mercury, and Venus are all in the morning sky before the sun rises. And Uranus, Jupiter, and Mars are all in the sky as the sun sets. If you like information in a more tabular form, here it is. You'll see here, for instance, Saturn is up before the sun is up. This is based on Morristown, New Jersey. You have to be, and we'll go into why in a minute, but you have to be specific as you can to your location on the planet. So pick a city near you. Morristown on this website was the closest I could find. Saturn at 5:53, so it's up before dawn, but it sets before sunset, so we never get a good night vision of it. You have to be up before dawn to see it at all, and then it's not very high off of the horizon as the sun comes up. So Saturn's not a great target, which is why it's classified as difficult to see. Mars, though, is up until 7:50, and where's a good one? Oh, that's about the best one we have here, right? Mars still be visible for a while, but not too long in the evening sky. So the two towers, why did I say you have to be specific and careful about where you are on the planet? We're going to talk about the two towers. Is this the two towers that I'm really talking about? An amateur astronomer should know better, shouldn't he? No, these are the two towers. This here on the left is Sandpoint Lighthouse in Escanaba, Michigan, in the upper peninsula of Michigan. And on the right-hand side is Quoddy Head Lighthouse in Lubec, Maine. These two towers share a common characteristic. Want to guess what that is? They are both lighthouses. That's the trivial answer, we would say in math. That's the trivial answer. They're both in the Eastern time zone, but there's a problem there. You certainly can. Exactly. Now, I want you to look at these pictures and tell me what's different between the sky in the two locations. Indeed. So this sun is already set, and this sun is still up, even though it might be the same time in those pictures. I don't know the actual times that those photographs were taken, but it could be in those pictures that could actually happen. So celestial events don't understand time zones. Another way of saying it, which is maybe more appropriate, is that humankind, for its own convenience, put time zones into play, and it has nothing to do. Any spot you are on the Earth has its own sunrise and own sunset. So the times back here, that's why you have to get as close as you can to your current location, because every spot on the planet has a different sunrise and sunset, because your location on the planet makes the difference to when that actually happens. All right, we also talked about the Lyrid meteor shower. Its peak is on April 21st. A couple days before and a couple days after, you might see some activity too. So if April 21st the sky looks like today, that doesn't mean you can't look a day before or day afterwards and still see something. Uh, Here, Lonnie gave a range of dates that you could maybe take a look up in the sky. And the calculations are based on historical data. So, you know, it's going to be an estimate anyway. And timing can vary from year to year to year. This is the velocity of the I assume the average velocity of the particles left over in a meteor shower. Everyone knows that a meteor shower is the leftover pieces of some sort of body, usually a comet, that has passed through the orbit of Earth. The orbit, not necessarily that Earth was occupying that same space at the same time, but just where the Earth travels around the sun. Okay, so that's what these meteor showers are. They are dust particles or small pieces typically, but they can be larger pieces too. You'll get a fireball if it's a larger piece, and that's always exciting to see. The hourly rate, the best hourly rate is at 18 incidents per hour. And the Lyrids are associated with the comet Thatcher, a long period comet that orbits the sun every 400 plus years. It last reached its closest approach to the sun in 1861. So it's not, it's that's only you know, a little less than 200 years ago. Still got some time. We're not going to be around to see its next visit. So it is associated with Comet Thatcher. Why is it called the Lyrid meteors? Lyrid is a constellation in the sky. As much as astronomers and amateur astronomers and astrologers sometimes butt heads, we do share in the use of the constellations to find things in the sky. And so knowing that it is Lyrid meteors, we can guess that in the constellation Lyre, that is where we can find something interesting about this meteor shower. And here it is. Lyra is this constellation. Looks like a parallelogram sort of hanging off of the side of the bright star Vega. That constellation has what's called a radiant, the point at which the meteors appear to come out from in the constellation Lyra. What does that mean? Well, if you look, this comet is spewing stuff off into space in any direction, 3D in any direction, and it makes an orbit that intersects the Earth's orbit as it makes its own trip around the sun. So this is a 3D object. So think about it as, say, like an elevated train or an elevated highway in space. So it has 3D aspect to it. It's not just a road, but an elevated multi-level road going around the sun that intersects with the Earth. So it's sort of looking like down the barrel of a huge, much bigger than the Earth, of a huge barrel of a gun. So that's why it looks like this, because that's bullets, very small bullets, flying down the barrel of the gun. You're looking right down the barrel, and they're flying out here, out from that central point, and that's why it's a radiant. So that's what, it can go down, it can go up, it can go to the sides, but they all look like they're coming from that central point. So that's the radiant, and that's how the meteor showers get their name. How best to view a meteor shower in April? Not like Captain America there. not using these huge telescopes, and not using any, you don't need any special equipment, although if we were looking at it now, you probably do want to have a pretty good coat on. But no, you don't use any of those. Your naked eye is the best way to watch a meteor shower. Just orient yourself to the east in this location, and sort of later at night, as late as you can maybe stay up, 12, 1 o'clock, that would be a good time. But that's that should be true in Maryland. Yeah, as the Earth turns towards that direction. So wherever you are on Earth at later in the evening should be a good time, because we're flying through this big thing. So it's not a smaller localized phenomenon. It's a large thing we're flying through. So eyes up later at night. All right, so that's about it on meteors, and let's talk about this nova. Let me see if I can go. Oh man, it's very inelegant for me to go all the way back like this, but I'm going to do it. Special area, and then finally we talk T Corona Borealis is the last thing we're going to talk about here from Lonnie's presentation. And sorry for being inelegant again and going this way through it, but here we are. So what is T Corona Borealis? Why did Lonnie have a question mark about it? And maybe you heard a little bit about this in the news. So this is a nova that is predicted to happen. This is Corona Borealis, this constellation. And just off of the left-hand side there at night, that star should erupt and become significantly brighter. It should be one of the brightest stars, not necessarily brighter than a planet, but one of the brightest stars in the sky when it goes. So what is a nova? Lonnie has a great picture here. This star is a binary system. One of the stars is just a normal star. The other star is a white dwarf. So it's a star that lived its good life and is now done. And however, this star is close enough to the other star that material from the star that is still burning is falling off of that star and accumulating on the white dwarf. Now what has happened is, of course, you know that maybe from your science classes that white dwarfs, neutron stars, black holes accrete or accumulate matter. They have shrunken down, become very dense, and the gravity field around them, based on which one it is stronger and stronger and stronger, black holes being the beast. Now this white dwarf, when this material lays on there, once in a while, when it reaches a certain threshold, needs to rearrange itself. So don't think about the eruption as being something like a volcano. Think about it as being a star-wide landslide. And then don't think about it like that anymore once you get that idea, because it's not rearranging itself like a landslide, like little particles of material. It's even smaller. It's happening on the nuclear scale. So these are nuclear reactions that happened across the surface of the white dwarf. So it's very different from a supernova. Everyone's familiar with a supernova. A star ends up going critical and kaboom, right? This kaboom is still, you wouldn't want to be anywhere near it when it does this, but this star isn't blowing up. Can this lead to a supernova? Yes, but I don't know where this star is. If it reaches around 1.4 times the mass of our sun, and it accumulates just a little bit more material, then that's a type 1a supernova, and the entire white dwarf goes, because that's a limit where it turns into, boom, a black hole. Enough stuff is accumulated that that the electron degeneracy pressure no longer holds up the star. It just goes. So they've been predicting this nova because it's been happening, I think it was 80 years. Does it say 80 years anywhere here? They've been predicting this nova been happening, going to happen for that it happens regularly. I think it was every 80 years. They've been predicting that it was going to happen last year in October of 24. However, it hasn't happened again yet. However, if you remember, the life cycle of these things are billions of years. All right, so if you're talking about a year or two on either way, divide that by a billion, and it's actually a pretty good prediction whether they get it within the year or so, right? It's tiny fractions of time. So just a little bit of additional or less flow from the partner star can change the difference in when this happens. Okay, so different conditions end up changing it just a little bit, but just a little bit on a cosmic scale, not just necessarily just a little bit on a human scale. That's the location again, and there's a later slide where we will find Corona Borealis, the constellation. So it's right off of the constellation, which makes it easy. Here's another periodic star. This star is T. While we're waiting for TCRB, we can look at U Geminorum in the constellation Gemini. I don't know whether I'm saying the that form of the word correctly or not. This happens actually more frequently, about every 100, instead of 80 years, every 105 days. And it brightens a hundredfold from magnitude 14, which would be difficult even to pick up in our telescopes, to a magnitude 9, which is easily visible by any of our scopes or any amateur astronomers' telescopes. So if you do have a telescope and you want to see a periodic star brighten and then dim, like it is in that animation over there, then you can follow its entire cycle with an 8-inch telescope. You just got to go out every night and point your telescope in the same place. What constellations can we see? Well, here we are in Stellarium. Stellarium being very important as a sky app because you can specify time, location, and your elevation, and to get these time and date calculations very precise. So this is a say this is a normal sky atlas with a little bit of technical oomph to it. Okay, so Stellarium is awesome. So you can see here that we are actually set at UACNJ, and all the latitude and longitude, the elevation, and times are all, you can set all those, and we're for this location here, this on the 5th. This is set for the 4th, so last night. No, 4/15. That's it. So on the 15th, this, if you look up, you would see exactly this sky from here. So here you can see maybe a couple of more famous. This is Ursa Major. This asterism, which is part of Ursa Major, is very famous. Which one is this? The Big Dipper. Mike, I know you know. And this is Ursa Minor, which is kind of cool because it is next to this star, which happens to be near the North Celestial Pole. What star is that? It's near the North Celestial Pole, the North Star, right. So this is Polaris right here. And so Ursa Minor, the little bear or the Little Dipper here, is actually, the North Star is actually part of it. So that's kind of cool to know. Cepheus, Cassiopeia, we know, the W. Triangulum ZZ, it just looks like a triangle in the sky. Booties, and here it is, Corona Borealis. We had just talked about that. All in the north sky this month. Facing west, so that's this way here. Here you can see Gemini. If you look up in the sky and you see two stars right next to each other that look approximately the same brightness, that's how the Gemini get their name. They're right next to each other and they look like they're pretty close in brightness. One is brighter than the other, but they look at first glance to about the same brightness. That's Gemini as you're looking to the west. Here's Cassiopeia again. Here is Orion going down. We're going to be saying goodbye to Orion soon because it is a winter constellation. Here is Canis Major, the big dog, with this very bright star in Canis Major, the big dog. Sirius. All right. So that is those constellations in the west. And here we are facing south. We have Leo, the lion. So if you see the line drawing here, you can sort of see that's his mane and that's his back leg, maybe a tail going out this way. So the backwards question mark is very visible in the sky. So if you can see that backwards question mark, you're looking at Leo, and you can make out these other parts of Leo once you identify the backwards question mark. And very interesting, underneath the constellation here are some cool galaxies to take a look at. Let's see if I can go back here. Up here, where's the big, one more. Up here off of the Big Dipper in these areas are also some cool galaxies. There's Booties, Corona Borealis again, and Virgo when you're facing east. This is also the head of Draco. And we can't forget our old friends. So we talked about events. We call those events in amateur astronomy. But what about our yearly friends, things that are up there year after year after year that we can always show you as long as it's a clear night up here at UACNJ. This Sky Atlas, by the way, skymaps.com, it gives you this planisphere-like map that you can just download every month. And the second page along here, you start to see some of the symbology, so it explains all that stuff really well. On the next page, it's just tables of things that you can see that month. So very good if you want to find things in the sky. Other objects we could have seen tonight. I changed the title because unfortunately we will not be able to see that. But M35, M51, M81, M42, M44, M13, those are all Messier catalog numbers. Might be the speaker itself. We are experiencing technical difficulties. I think you need a bigger wrench to hit it with. I can. I don't think it's wired, so I'm going to continue talking so our live stream people don't fall asleep, all 5 of them. So what this M is catalog number. It's the Messier catalog. Messier was a very it's very ironic that we use his catalog so extensively to find objects in the sky, to list them and find them, because Messier was basically saying don't look at any of these objects. He was a comet hunter, so he made a list of objects that he found that were definitely not comets. So he wasn't really telling you not to look at them, but he wasn't interested in them, nor the people he was making the list for, because he was saying, you know, these aren't comets, so you aren't looking at anything that you wanted to see if they're comets. These are the constellations they're in. This is the name of the object, and this is a little bit more. They could be an open cluster, a globular cluster, spiral galaxies, another open cluster. So these are the types of objects, deep sky objects, that are in the same place at the same time every year in the sky that we could show you here. So that's cool to know that. Plus a bunch of various stars here. Mizar and Alcor is extremely interesting because it is a multi-star system. And we can show you that when you look up at a specific star in the Big Dipper, that in fact, interestingly, we love to do this test. Kids, if just standing here on Earth without the aid of a telescope, can look at that star and tell that it's 2 stars, and adults can't. Vision is that much better. And here's a picture of a couple of friends, Bodes, the Whirlpool, and M35, and those are pictures that I took here, so we can definitely see them here. They're images. I'm not an astrophotographer. Mike here is an astrophotographer. This is just, mine's a Polaroid. His is a museum piece. So, so if you have any questions, talk to Mike about astrophotography. I'm just snapping pretty pictures. A little bit of reading that Lonnie likes to give you. These are various sources that he uses. Sky and Telescope, astronomy.com, space.com. These are all sources that are highly recommended for you to use for any information for amateur astronomy. A stellarium, you saw all the specific sky maps that Lonnie made are made with stellarium. Like I said, it takes a little bit getting used to, has a little bit more teeth than many other sky atlases, so definitely a good contender, a good resource. There are many resources. Mary, my wife, showed me this one while I was going through Lonnie's presentation, so I thought I'd mention it. Space Tourism Guide. And one reason I wanted to mention it is that one has to, when you're looking at your resources online, it is the same thing as if you look anything else up online. You have to test it for believability using the noggin before you go and start distributing that information. One has to have an eye. This particular Sky Guide article is an excellent article. However, Valerie here, I assume that's a picture of Valerie. Valerie his focus is on tourism, actually traveling the planet to see various astronomical things. So there's things in the southern hemisphere, for instance, that you wouldn't see here. So that she recommends in this article. So you always have to just sort of like understand a little bit about what you're looking at before distributing the information. So a great resource, all accurate stuff, many of the things that we talked about tonight, but you know, they many times have different focus. And to start observing, invest low. If you really have an interest in looking at stars, a good pair of binoculars might be your first purchase, instead of going out for the most complicated of telescopes. A good telescope that is a great starting telescope is a Newtonian Dobsonian, and they run less than $1,000 in the 6 to 8 inch range. If you actually want to jump right into a telescope, but actually just going out, looking up, and knowing where stuff is in the sky by using the constellations is also a great way to start without any investment at all. And just going through the events again, we talked about the moon phases, we talked about where the planets are in April, and we talked about a couple of special events that that will happen or we are anticipating to happen soon. So good stuff. That is the presentation. I'll leave this actually up just in case I have to replay this. Better is always the loaded question, right? Because one has to define one's goals and then design your system to the goals. If you're looking at more accuracy, then you could certainly align your clock to where you happen to be to the sidereal time, the time that our Earth is pointing to at the same place in the sky once every revolution. However, would that make things simpler and allow most people on the planet to use it without having to whip out a calculator and do it? And it wouldn't, right? So somewhere in there you have to modify your goals to allow simplicity of use as well as accuracy. And I think time zones, having these discrete areas or longitudinal sections around the planet, is probably the best, one of the best things that we can come up with. And I think you know, smarter people than me. I mean, we've had very brilliant people. You know, people one time in a generation or one time on the planet Earth who are mathematicians who have used these systems since antiquity. And so to say that I can come up, and myself anyway, come up with a better system than some of the most brilliant people that walk the planet, I don't think that I can make that claim. So I would say that, again, depending upon what you say by what you mean by the best, you always have to design a system based on that, how you define best. I think you know, for general use, I think they're there. old system. We're trying to get away from sharing the mic, but we're going to share the mic, I think.
How about now?
That's what I meant.
Am I audible now? Hey, my thing might need its battery changed. So the online question, just because you could hear Paul talking online, was were there better things than time zones? And he has pretty much summed that up. Was there a question out here? Really? Nothing? Bueller? We're just crickets? Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it so much. It's more important that you go out and try at whatever time you can rather than try to optimize it, because there is always a factor of randomness to it. So you could go out at the optimum calculated time and see nothing just because there doesn't happen to be any dust passing through at that time. So don't worry about it that much. But in generally, the later you are in the evening towards the early morning, the better off you are for a meteor shower. But don't worry about it too much. If you're awake and it's a good night, go out, take a look.
All right. Hopefully the battery change fixed my problem. Chris, I also found out the static problem was this dies. If this dies, it causes static in the system. So we found new things out. So we did learn this weekend. Let's see. Online, if you have any questions, do get those in. Let's see. I just scrolled away because I was changing a battery. You had mentioned something about average velocity, and someone made the comment of an unladen sparrow,
Yeah.
like Monty Python skit.
Tonight's full of movie movie references, and so we are quoting maybe
Monty Python
Monty
and
Python,
the Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail. Okay, so yeah. No, I mean, obviously, you don't have to memorize the numbers that astronomers and science people and people who just like to collect additional facts. Those aren't necessary to appreciate the wonder and splendor of a meteor shower, but it's cool to have additional information and to know that we can know those things. That's kind of cool, just knowing that we can know it with a good degree of accuracy, right? So cool stuff.
Yep. And I think really the last online comment was people are getting impatient from waiting for T Corona Borealis to go off. It was supposed to go off a year ago. So is there at any point are we going to have better calculations so we're not waiting?
Yeah, I don't know the limitation of our calculations, right? It depends upon things that are things in space that we can't control, right? We're making all these observations based on the spectra and the changes in light coming from objects that are hundreds or thousands or tens, it could be relatively close, of light years away. We will never reach those. Okay, even the closest stars, we're talking about missions of 40 or 50 years using current technology on a one-way trip, a very small thing with a very limited capability of sending information back to us. We can't visit these systems, so we're dependent on the light coming from those systems. So we're basing our understanding on a thorough understanding of physics and the lights, and our instruments are very accurate and stuff, but and again, I talked about the lifetime of a star is measured in hundreds of millions or billions of years. So if you talk about a year one way or the other, you're already reaching such a small percentage of uncertainty that it's really unreasonable to expect better data. It just, at a certain point, there's diminishing returns on trying to get more information. It's a tiny percentage, 1/billionth. You know, why are you worried about it?
I'm patient. Like
Yeah,
me.
I'm not saying that one shouldn't always strive for excellence in science, but at a certain point, the law of diminishing returns does apply, and the fact is we're stuck on this planet for a while.
Right. Any last minute questions? Since it looks like our online questions have kind of ended, I want to thank you all for joining us, both here and online. Do be careful when we are leaving. Once again, headlights. We do not want to get run over, and we don't want to see people run over. Also, website uacnj.org. It has a list of all our upcoming talks, as well as information on our member clubs, because the best way to get into astronomy is actually to find your local club and get the hints and tips from people close to you. Because what I find good for astronomy out here in northern New Jersey and Warren County is not necessarily going to help someone who lives in New York City or much nearer the city. You can check us out on our social media pages, our Facebook, Instagram, our Discord channel, our server. All of those links, once again, are on our website. And with that, do hit those like, follow, subscribe, online peeps on our YouTube and Twitch. With that, have a good night. Clearer skies than what we're having now, and good seeing. And if you happen to be it, we have a booth at NEAF, which is the Northeast Astronomy Forum, up in Suffern, New York. It's biggest astronomy trade show on the East Coast, I believe. I think there's one out west, but that's really far away. So if you happen to go up there and looking for something to do on the weekend, say hi at our booth. With that, have a good night, all.
Thank you, everybody.